Hey guys, Max here, and this was an insane race on F1 Clash 2022. We were just doing a Series 1 race today just to see how we do, because there's no point really lost for doing one of these races even if you do lose. So today's race we actually got given Bahrain and a pretty good driver actually against us. As you can see, the same team score, and that's based on your drivers, your cars, your levels, so we've got pretty similar in terms of our lineup really. But yeah, as you can see, we're in Bahrain today, and this was an unbelievable race from the get-go. So let's go through the qualifying first and show you how we did. So we did well in the first half of the lap, but then he's decided to catch us up right at the end. So we ended up getting a 5 and a 6, and our rival a 1 and a 4. Now, we decided to go for the mediums for Hamilton, and I think we decided for the hards for Max Verstappen at the end. No, we actually went for mediums on both of them, and we gave Lewis Hamilton the instinct. Actually, we didn't. Okay, we obviously want to save those for some of the higher cost races. So 5 red lights, and we start. Our rival went on the hard tyres initially, which was probably a mistake from them, but we found it very hard to get past them, as you'll see. So into the first corner, we did make up some places on Russell, but we had a pretty bad start from Hamilton, making me think that maybe we should have put a boost on to begin with. So we're up into P5 with Verstappen and P8 with Hamilton. Not the worst starts, because we're still ahead of our other rival on the mediums, who could have definitely tried to slow us down if they did get ahead of us. But we found it very hard now to get past Hamilton ahead of us in fourth, and then also catch up to Guan Yu Zhou on the hards in third place. Now, from here, it's often very hard to win a race like this, because when your rival's up ahead on the hard compound tyres, they can normally go for 4 laps on the hards, whereas the mediums at a push can do 3. So as you can see, I was just checking what tyres the Hamilton in front of us was on, because I was quite confused as to why I couldn't actually get past him. So they were actually on the mediums too, which is why it was a bit more difficult to me. But you can see Hamilton did try and get round Zhou and was able to do that, but then Guan Yu Zhou overtook again, so back into third place, and we're still stuck behind that Hamilton. Luckily, no places have changed. Russell, our rival, was still behind us, so we made a good start. We were obviously 5th and 6th to begin with, but our rival was 1st and 4th, so they have obviously lost some places. Now this was really annoying here as well, because we tried to make up a place on the Verstappen who just pitted, but we just missed out on that, so we were going to have to go around again. We did manage to get past, which was great, and this is now our boost lap. Now, as you can see, there is a servicing element now to this F1 Clash 2022 game, which does make things a lot more exciting, because you have to really strategize on when you're going to bring your car in to be serviced as well, or whether you're just going to bring it in to just have a tyre change. So we decided that we had to bring both cars in at the end of lap 3. I know I would have liked to go for a different strategy when I was thinking about it, but this wasn't the end of the world. The annoying thing was that Verstappen, who we pitted first, we had to service as well, which took almost 7 seconds. And as you can see, Hamilton's now waiting in the pits, but we didn't have to actually service him at that time because we had conserved the battery, we hadn't pushed too hard, and so we didn't have to worry about that. So now's where things get really interesting. So we were P6 and P10 for Hamilton. Our rival decided to go onto the softs, which I think was a pretty silly strategy. Around Bahrain, there isn't too much difference between the softs and the mediums, so keep that in mind, everyone who's watching, for your races that you have. So there we go. So our rival, Guan Yu Zhou, pits, and we boost as hard as we can, and we do actually get ahead. And that just shows you the pace difference between hards that are having to conserve their tyre length and fresh mediums, similar to an F1 race, to be honest. So now our main goal was to just get as far ahead of our rival as possible, who had gone onto the mediums. Now, we were going to go another lap for Verstappen and another lap for Hamilton, but as you can see, we were now still not in the lead, but we were definitely in a better position. And our rival our rival Russell was going to have to pit this lap, because they unfortunately went onto the strategy of going onto the softs, which clearly didn't work for them. So just like that, the tables had turned, and we actually got ahead of second place as well. So we've now got a P1 and P6 for ourselves, whereas our rival is sitting in P4 and P9, which is a crazy turnaround. But let's see if we can hold this line. So it turns out medium, soft seems like a pretty good strategy. Softs are often only to be used when you are ahead and you have some clean air. Otherwise, it is still quite hard to get past people on this track. So I would suggest that if you were behind a car and you go to pit, probably go for mediums because there's not going to be that much of a difference between the two. But we do pit and we tried to get out in front of our rival, but we weren't able to. But luckily, with 2 laps to go, we are on fresh softs and they are on medium tyres that, as you can see, are starting to wear pretty thin. Our rival Russell did get ahead of us. Hamilton's back in P10, so as you can see, our rival is ahead technically on points. But like I said, Guan Yu Zhou is going to have to pit now to change the tyres. We pushed so hard that our fuel for Verstappen was running so low that we had to put the engine mode right down. But first place and second place were both having to pit, so we were able to get past. There we go, getting past Guan Yu Zhou, and at the same time we ended up getting past Russell. And the great thing about this strategy that I did was that now that my Hamilton was in front of the other rivals, I was able to kind of put my engine mode really far down, and because I'm on the softs, even if they wanted to, they would have found it very hard to get past me because softs are the fastest compound of tyre. As you can see, they are both on the softs, but me slowing everything down just means I have a buffer to Verstappen and the other rivals. So we're just coming around the last corner for Verstappen. We do make a late move on P4, so we do get P4. So we end up with P2 for Verstappen and P2 for Hamilton, and P4, sorry, for Hamilton, with our rivals coming back in P6 and P7. So that was a really close race, but as you can see, pretty much maximum points from that, 44 points out of a maximum of 47. But then we just go and have a look at the debrief, and what you can see from the debrief is that our best lap times were 1.2 seconds ahead of Guan Yu Zhou. So, you know, we made up quite a lot of time on that front, which was really great. And our best pit stop times were also second and third, which was great. Their rival did have better drivers than us, as you can see, on overtaking, but we had a much better car. As you can see, the power that I have is 102 because I've got the top engine on my car, which is wonderful. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed this video. I'll be putting out this content more.